Tonight, I'm going to be talking about customizing the WP admin dashboard. I love doing this. I've been doing this since very early on WordPress. Just getting rid of the stuff that's really annoying and branding it like it should be. I've got a little download for everyone. There's a QR code there, but I'll put this slide up later on as well. So I created a makeover blueprint, just a few pages outlining, I think there's 6 steps there that you can take to get started. Updating the WordPress dashboard and giving it a nice makeover. So let's jump in. So why customize the WP admin dashboard? Customizing the interface isn't just about making it look nice, although that is definitely part of it. It's about giving clients a bit of confidence, improving the usability as well, and preventing them from clicking on things that they probably shouldn't. So we want to reduce the client confusion. We want to try and reinforce your brand as well, and prevent accidental breakage from things like theme and plugin editors. And more importantly, I think when you customize the WordPress admin and make it visually look good, it can also be perceived as a value add from your project. So I've split this into a couple of sections. One is customization when you're handing over to clients. So you've done your project, you've not got a WPSyd care package, you just hand it over, that's you done for. And then there's one where you're actually looking after the WordPress website as well. So you're actively looking after it month by month, week by week. So we'll have a look at these customizations at handover. So these are pretty low effort, high impact tweaks that can make a big difference to how clients perceive the site. They're great value adds at handover time. Specifically, they should be included in every website, I think, regardless whether you've secured some sort of site care or maintenance plan. So some of the key changes are a branded logging screen, which is always great, removing dashboard widgets, hiding plugin theme editor, which is the big one, and we've got the pesky admin bar logo and the footer text as well that kind of just screams WordPress branding, which we don't particularly want on our website. So first off, branded logging screen. You can use plugins. There's quite a lot of plugins, but 2 of the top ones that you can use are the white label CMS. I believe that was Troy Dean, I think, still owns that one, part of WP Elevation or Agency Mavericks, I think. There's Login Press as well. I've used both of them to some degree. They give you a reasonable control over the login screen, although there's nothing like using your own code snippets to get exactly what you want. So what you're basically doing is you're looking for like a simple win here. It looks professional. It looks completely, well, not completely, it looks different from the bog standard WP login. It reinforces branding as well, whether it's your branding or whether it's the client's brandings as well. It just makes it look nicer. You can also redirect the users to a particular dashboard or another help screen after login rather than going just to the dashboard. So there's lots of ways you can use this. That's this is one of my actual login screens. So I like to use a 50-50 vertical split. So the right-hand side disappears on mobile and tablet in portrait mode, and you just get the branded login screen. If you want to copy this particular format, you have to inject some divs before and after the login body. So you're looking at doing code using the WordPress API code functions for this, because it doesn't really support a 50-50. You've got to add a wrapper div and then a beginner div and then wrap another div around the login screen there to get that kind of particular look. If you're interested, you can DM me and I can definitely share that particular code. Here is a similar style as one of my clients. That's actually a video that rolls around as well, so it kind of a bit eye-catching. They've got suppliers and stuff that log in to their website. They've got a shop as well. They sell organic grains and other things like that. So they wanted to go down this nice branded look, and the whole website is completely branded. So that just kind of made sense to make the login screen all nice and branded to fit in with them as well. The next one is removing the default dashboard widgets. I don't know about you, but I rarely use any of them. I think the site care one is probably the most useful one, but I never use any of the rest, like the quick press and all these other bits and bobs. And so I like to remove the clutter for all the clients. Most clients don't really need news or activity feed. They just want to get on and use the posts and blog site. So you can place these. You can either just get rid of them, or you can replace them with a welcome message or a tutorial link or something that's more useful for them when they first log in. If you want to do this yourself via code snippet, you need to use particular functions like remove default dashboard widget and remove meta box. And each of the boxes, they have their own particular name. So you need to know what their names are in order to remove them. So for example, the primary one is called dashboard underscore primary. Then you've got dashboard underscore quick press, and then you've got dashboard underscore activity. And they're all named, but you can find them out on WordPress.org or in the developer documentation. And you just add them all, you remove them, remove MetaBox, and then add an action on the WP dashboard setup, and that gets rid of all those widgets for you. There are plugins that do this, but I think doing code snippets is probably a lot cleaner. You can just Google that code snippets and you come up with that easy enough. Then you can use a code snippets plugin or whack it in your functions.php file. I think it does make a lot of difference. You're not cluttering the website when people log in. And as I said, unless you really, really need those, I've never had a client come back to me and say, where's that WordPress quick press meta box? So I think we'll all be safe if you get rid of all that stuff. The next thing I attack is the admin bar logo and the footer text. So you'll notice that when you log into the dashboard, right in the top left, you've got that WordPress logo, and it basically just takes you out to wordpress.org. I know it's got other resources for that. I don't think there's any need for that. And at the very bottom, you'll see something like created with WordPress at the very footer of the dashboard. Again, clients don't really need to know that. When I'm doing proposals for clients, the very initial proposals, the very scoping form, we don't talk about WordPress at all. It's only very, very later on when the deal is being kind of, the proposal being agreed upon, that kind of mention, oh, we're going to do it in WordPress, unless a client specifically asks for it. So we don't really advertise WordPress that much, and we shouldn't be giving them any link juice either. So let's get rid of those two. There really is no additional benefit of leaving those, so I remove them completely. It's subtle, but it kind of reinforces your presence as an expert, just getting rid of that stuff and that they don't need. You can run code snippets. You can do a Google. So if you Google remove WP logo from admin bar code snippet, that'll come up. And similarly with the dashboard footer text code snip. You can replace those as well with your own company name. That's what I do. So I replace it with, built by ZeroPoint Development or cared by WP Wingman. If it's a project, I actually like to link back to their case study or your portfolio of them. So if it's a WordPress project that you've done, you can link back to that. Again, it helps with SEO links. You're not overwhelming all those same links back to the same page. You're kind of distributing your backlinks back to there. So that's useful as well. And it gets a little bit nice thing from the client. I've had a few clients click on that and they can go and see their case study. And I've had a few people come back and leave comments on case studies or copy that into Google to do a 5-star review. So it's been really helpful that way. And rather than hide the WP logo at the top left, you can add your client's logo there instead with a link to wherever they want to go. If you're hosting the website or looking after it yourself, you can put your own logo in there, and then it takes you to help documentation and support documentation for that. So really useful. You can get rid of it or actually kind of use it to reinforce your brand or the client brand. Hide plugin theme and editor. This should be a no-brainer. It prevents clients from breaking their site by editing code directly in the dashboard. And that's a really quick way to the white screen of death. And I can't tell you how many times I've had clients muck around in plugins and theme code. You kind of get two different types of clients. You get the one client that's totally technophobic and they'll never touch on anything at all. They just call you and email you. And then you get what I call the tinkerers. And they've done a little bit of Googling. They've seen what you can kind of change, and they're right into the theme files and they're right into the plugin files. And it's just a nightmare, especially when things go wrong. So there's a simple one line you can do, and all these code snippets are in the little goodie that you can download at the end of this. So this one is a WP config file. It's define, and then there's a text that says disallow underscore file underscore edit, and you set that to true. And that just gets rid of those two options. It works on classic themes. It doesn't particularly work on the full site editing because they kind of need the editor, so that you'll still see the word editor, but it's not the same thing. Editor roles, best practice is avoid giving admin rights unless absolutely necessary to anyone, and that includes clients. So even when you're handing them over, what you can do is I tend to create a separate admin account, either for myself or for the client. I give the clients editor roles. So under their own name, under their own email address, they just get an editor role because that's really all they need to look after most of the website. And then optional is I can give them a separate admin account. So it depends if you're hosting the site, looking after it, or giving it to them and having nothing to do. But I do like to give them a separate editor under their own name and then another admin account under a different email address. So it's always good practice if you're doing that is to get the client to set up a particular email address or get them to forward that email address so that you get that admin stuff that comes in for that. But it's great practice because they're logging in under their own account as editor, and that's all they really need to update and maintain the website kind of visually and content-wise. So you really want to limit access only to what they need for the majority of the use of the website. Customizations for care clients. So this is kind of moving on to websites that you've now kind of bargained into a WordPress site care or a maintenance plan. Some of the things that you want to do here is maybe provide a little bit of better support, maybe automation, maybe a little bit of data visibility for them, kind of really make that WordPress admin useful for them rather than just the standard WordPress stuff. So talk about the admin menu. We can use that. So rather than just leave the default posts and media and pages and stuff, we can add to that. We can move things around in priority. So kind of make it work for the client, link exactly to what they need and hide what they don't need. So I've used the admin menu editor plugin before for this. Generally 9 out of 10 times I'll be using code snippets, but you can use the admin editor plugin and it works okay. So you can add things like video tutorials. You can add their documentation, so how to use the website if it's a complicated website. You can add SOPs on there for things like, copying templates around or moving different content or duplicating content, how you do particular landing pages or call to actions. So you can do a link to those tutorials, SOPs, video stuff. A lot of the clients I work with, they usually work with a Dropbox or Google Drive if they've got Teams. So you can have links to those particular drives and folders as like a how to like an easy access thing for them, or a support portal as well. So if you are looking after the website as a care plan, you can have a particular menu in there that clicks on it and it goes to your support portal. If that's external, allow them to raise tickets or manage their invoices, subscriptions, and stuff like that. So there's a multitude of different things that I've used in the past for the admin menu, and it's definitely benefited the client to be able to tweak that admin menu and add bespoke stuff into it that's relevant to them. It just helps them with their workflow. This is the support beta box that I use with my WP Wingman clients. So it creates a little bit of transparency for the clients and it helps them know exactly what they're paying for month to month. I'm going to show you a quick demo. So if I can just switch this, I'll just stop my screen. I'll switch to the screen. I'll bring up this. There we go. So this is just a local WP instance. There's nothing really much happening here. I've just got my one plugin installed. It used to be an MU plugin, but running MU plugins is really difficult because it doesn't have things like activate and deactivate that you really kind of want to use those. What you'll see here, the CSS is not particularly working very well, but you'll see that whenever I go into plugins or updates or themes, appearance themes, there's a warning nag at the top that says don't do anything, basically, don't screw up anything. So I've got that up there, just the one plugin installed. And I've got site rules, but anyway, it's called WP Wingman Site Care. So it's got some settings on here and I can disable everything. So disable all the widgets, disable the plugin theme editors that come as default. I can remove the admin logo and I remove the footer text at the bottom as well and just save those changes. And all that stuff automatically disappears, which is wonderful. And then if I go to the dashboard, so that's my little widget here. So it basically just reinforms people that it's under update, it's under contract. With me, don't change anything. But it's got a lot more stuff working in the background. What I do here is I tell them what support plan, when it was subscribed and when the next renewal date is, and who the actual client is for that. Now I pulled also, I use Fluent CRM. So when you go to the WP Wingman website, if you purchase a site care plan, it's easy digital downloads. And when you're purchasing a subscription, it uses Zapier and it pulls all that information out and sends it to Fluent CRM. And what I'm using here is some custom fields, and I'm pulling that data from Fluent CRM, from custom fields in there. The next one as well, I use Fluent support for all my ticketing systems. So it pulls the last ticket ID as well with the title, status, and when it was created, so they can see exactly what's happening for there. And I've also got an open support ticket, so they don't even have to go anywhere. They just whack in this, choose their own priority, put some description in it, send it off, and this uses the API and it sends it directly to Fluent CRM as well, and then it refreshes this and updates to the latest ticket. So a lot of it's automated. It's 90 odd percent automated for that, and clients love that. I get this ticket thing all the time, and it just saves all the emails going around. It goes directly to Fluent CRM. I've got some plans as well to come to extend this to the subscriptions and invoices and manage the subscription as well. I change credit card and stuff like that. So really, it should allow them in the future not to even leave their website, to be able to update and manage all their Wingbang subscription. So that's just a quick idea of what you could do at branding. And this has worked for me really, really well. It just saves a lot of hassle with clients. And we'll go back to this one. Okay. So you can send clients to purpose dashboards as well. I've done this in the past. So not just playing around with the WP admin dashboard, but just send them off to a completely bespoke dashboard. It depends really how the client wants all that set up. And, if you're going to add this as like a value add in your proposal. But you can set this up with instructions, updates, and set of the default screen. So you don't have to rely on the WP admin dashboard at all. There's lots of plugins you can use. The best one is probably Login WP. After somebody's logged in, I think it was used to call Peter's Login Redirect. So it's probably the top redirect in the market, or you can use your own code. Doesn't really matter. But the idea is you want to redirect them to a particular dashboard when they log in. I've had a few clients who have different people logging in, different roles, and I log them into their own particular dashboard with what they need to access. So rather than just send them to the one thing, and then in the background conditionally figure out what they get access to, I just send to different dashboards for those using the user roles and capabilities. And you can easily use something like Elementor Pro or Bricks Builder to create your new dashboard. And then what you could use is just shortcodes if you're a developer to display those kind of custom meta boxes to do all that data in the back end. So this example here, it wasn't, ChatGPT wasn't very good at rendering the text on this particular one, but this is an example. For example, a plumber. I had something similar, but it was an electrician. But I thought I'd change it just so in case they watch this. But the example here is a plumber. So you could have like a support box for jobs and tasks. You can have your support one there as well that allows them to open support tickets. You can take API data from their pipeline system, whether it's Salesforce or it might be Notion or ClickUp or Monday. They'll provide APIs to grab the information from there. So you can bring that in to a meta box, a feed from Xero, and maybe a feed from, it says Stripe there, but I think that was meant to be Square, just to get, for like payments and stuff. Because a lot of these job guys, they've got little Square pads on them now. So just let them track how much they've earned today and overall and stuff. I've done that in the past for quite a few service-based ones. And it's just great. It just means that they've got that information straight at their dashboard and they don't need to kind of go anywhere. So it's super useful. I think the main point about this is you can charge this as a value add into your proposal, just add an extra line item. If you haven't talked about it, if they're a bit on the fence about it, just add it in as an exclamation in your proposal, show a couple of screenshots, and 9 out of 10 times you'll get them to go, yeah, I quite like that. You kind of show them the boring WordPress dashboard, you show them what it could look like, and they're willing to pay to, $2,000-3,000 extra just for that particular little service. It doesn't take very much time. For those, a lot of the stuff you can do code snippets. A lot of the stuff is available on the API websites for Stripe and Xero and Square and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't take very much time and effort to download that information securely and display it on a meta box. So that's it, a quick one tonight. So some recap and takeaways for client handover sites. Keep it clean and simple. Remove clutter, reinforce branding, whether it's the clients or yours. Hide dangerous tools like the file editors. Remove all that WP branding stuff that they don't need to know. And hand off with confidence. So get rid of the editor access, get them a separate admin and editor. Have a branded login to reinforce their brand and get that custom footer back to your website as well. It looks pro, it feels safe as well, and it sets you a bit apart from some of the other freelancers that don't do this. Is kind of lead the default WordPress. It kind of sets you apart a little bit. If you're offering care plans or maintenance plans, you want to go a little bit deeper. You want to maybe add some meta boxes like support form, redirect to custom dashboards, depending on what they're going to pay for. Give clarity as well. So show the support plan they're on, what renewal dates, give them access to ticketing info as well to save them sending an email. Streamline access. So you want to tweak the admin menu to make it really useful for the client. Help links and specific client tools and links to their external systems. But mostly you want to charge for that. So charge for value. So depending on what dashboard customization you're doing, make it billable because it's work that you're doing at the end of the day. So make it billable, make it helpful, make it useful for the client, make it valuable so that they can pay you for that. There's a QR code for the WP Dashboard Makeover Blueprint. So that you can grab that yourselves. I'll send a link out as well to the meetup page. Put it into the comment for that. Quick next month as well. Client control. So I'm talking about proposals, scopes, systems, SOPs, all that sort of good stuff that you do at the beginning when you're trying to onboard clients and win proposals. But I'm happy to take some questions. I know I spoke really quickly. I need to try and slow down next time. But yeah, so I'll go back if you want to grab that one just there. And if anyone's got any questions about what I've covered tonight or customizations or ideas that they might have, happy to open the floor if people want to ask.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I've tried similar, or not similar. I've tried customizing the dashboard on a few client sites before, but I never really had like a consistent way of doing it. And so usually it was like I just go into a site and go, just think what I like, make up the decisions on the spot. Oh, they probably don't need that. They don't need that. And then I ended up with a bunch of different sites with different customizations, and it just got confusing for me. That wasn't really a question, that was more of a comment.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I did the same. That's why I created the plugin. So I've got my own custom repo on one of my subdomains. So I can just release a version. It's in a Bitbucket repository. And then when I update the version, so for the next one, when I let people manage their subscriptions and invoices and card updates, that'll be rolled out to everyone. So yeah, I'm not having to go into everyone's dashboard and update stuff. It's just the one plugin. So yeah, I was like, you had code snippets and functions, and this thing would be removed, but this thing wasn't. So at least with this way, it's branded and consistent across all the WP Wingman clients.
Yeah, because the other thing was like when I had instructions either that I'd made or I'd found to send out to people, they didn't necessarily match because it was the instructions were referring to things that I'd removed.
Yeah, yep. I've also got a plugin that updates the admin menu as well. So when I was talking about adding customization to the admin menu, I've got a plugin that would add for that, and it allows me to quickly just bring up new classes for each particular item that I need, and then I can add links to it. So again, I'm not hacking the code, I'm not putting stuff in the functions. I've got a plugin that I just add in, and then I can tweak that per client, but it's like standard developer stuff that I can just clone easily and add new properties and functions to the classes. So yeah, it's not like a block of code that I have to replicate each time. It's just there and handy.
Yeah, nice.
It's so good. What's funny is like this week or last couple of weeks, literally, I use Monday for our CRM. We got the new Monday CRM and then ticketing, but there's no way of presenting that to the clients like in a dashboard yet. They're apparently talking about it, but it's a bit of a mess. And so I've been looking at solutions like Softer, which is like a app building, but to use it with Monday, it's ridiculous, like $100 a month for just this feature. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And I did not even consider throwing it into the website where they already, have access to. So that's brilliant. Like I've taken some notes down of what I'm going to be, custom plugin, which is brilliant. Thanks.
I think when you start working with particular clients, like I do a lot of electricians websites, they've got particular services that they use, like tradie services that allows them, to do their invoicing, do their payments, do their tasking. So once you learn what these systems are, it's really easy to go to the API and just pull the thing out. And then, once you've got a couple of dashboard widgets under your belt for a client, then that's when you start offering it as a value add. You show them the boring WordPress client, and then you show them, but here's what I've done for other clients. You show the little meta boxes and all the information that's being pulled in relative real time, and they do pay for that.
Yeah, it's great.
Michael says, do you work alone or have a team that manages support and clients in general? I generally work alone myself. I've got a team of people who I can pull on. So my strengths are project management, scoping, technical requirements, and developing. I'm not so good with graphics and things like that. So I will pull in people that I need for those particular roles. But yeah, it's mainly just me. And I like that because I get to choose who I work with, and I get to choose my time as well. So I can spend time with my boy, which is great.
Thanks. Sorry for closing my video before.
That's all good. Some people eat dinner because it's around about dinner time. So that's all right.
No, but it's here as well. But yeah, I'm shifted from startup world and product design and SaaS. I'm a designer mostly. So all of a sudden I'm getting work like clients. I've been doing web design from the 90s, but I'm more of a designer. And with the plethora of AI and page builders and everything, my weakness is actually in custom code, I guess, and all these extra layers of managing a small studio, a freelance studio. That's why I'm super terrified of support or all kinds of packages and stuff like that, because then you can have a day with 200 support tickets for something catastrophic, and it's not the best thing, I guess.
You could, or that's where you start to define your terms and conditions and your scope. If you're offering services like that, you want to make sure you not just open the floodgates and say to people, I'll support your website, send me all the stuff. That's when you talk about, what support hours you have, how many hours you have per week or month, or how many jobs within your particular support plan. And you can make a tiered system up to whatever capabilities you like. So I've got stuff like uptime monitoring. I've got response times. So if you tickets are submitted, then I'll respond within like 1 business day or 2 business days. I've got my support hours as well. So I'll only respond between these particular hours. So it's all defined in the contract. And I guess that's a little bit of what you learn as you go along, because sometimes you get burned with things. But making sure you got an ironclad contract in place if you want to do support plans or just anything really. Website projects, your contract should be ironclad in the hours that you provide and the feedback and what you give them, what they give you. So yes, it's really the details are in the contract for that particular thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to hear that people are still coming on as freelancers. I started way back in the 90s as well. Dreamweaver, I think, was my first introduction to web development, which is just terrible thinking back to those days.
Well, I used to train clients in New York how to use Dreamweaver because that was the CMS basically. And and I still say that Fireworks is basically ahead of its time. It's people are going all nuts with Figma, and I'm saying, well, we had Fireworks back then, and it did just the same. So I don't know what all the fuss. But yeah, I won't get into other arguments I have with the community because all this Framer and Figma and all these tools coming in, and like, well, all the websites look the same. So I don't know what exactly are you. It's actually the relationship with clients, and that's why I'm talking to you about relationship. And I'm looking forward for your next Zoom meeting about client relationship. I think that's the main issue, or not issue. Clients actually prefer to have that security and relationship. Design, functionality, all that stuff you can get from anywhere. So
yeah, I agree.
I think it's very important.
Yeah, with like design tools in general, just choose one and learn it like an expert, and then you'll know exactly how to get things like Figma come and go.
No, I completely agree. It's not even with Reloom now and AI creating wireframes in 5 seconds and information architecture. That's fantastic for me. And at least I don't have to build 3 days of meetings and conversations, because most clients don't even know what information architecture is or what content or nothing. They just build me a site, how much it's going to cost, like real. Mention brand and logos and nothing. So that's even worse. So it's good that I'm getting that feedback.
Yeah. So what I'll cover next month is like onboarding. It's triage as well. It's strategy sessions. So I mean, those two things there, that should be in everyone's pipeline, every freelancer's pipeline. You want to do a triage to see if you can work with them, and you want to do a paid strategy session, because I mean, you'll know as well as other people that the most clients, very rare have a client to come and have like a whole digital strategy roadmap as to what they do and how everything places together. It's usually, as you say, just build me a website. You're like, okay, well, so having like a paid session to bring it all together, that's what I do all the time. And if I don't, I get burned. So I always do now.
Exactly. Well, that's what I do, CX, basically. Look at the entire ecosystem and service design.
Mike says, are those custom plugins in the main WP repo? No, they're not. No, because I don't want everyone. It's because because I'm dealing with my own systems, when you're pulling stuff for API, you've got to have, I don't use basic auth, I use bearer tokens to authenticate. So, I've got those bearer tokens, I've got using password in the WP config file. So I can't just give that out to everyone for that. So they're in my own repo, my own custom repo that I hold on one of my subdomains. So if I do update it on Bitbucket, then I get a new version, zip it up, put it onto my repository, and then all the clients can see there's an update, or I'll do it within my managed WP or whatever. So no, they're privately hosted.
You mentioned not using MU plugins. I have a very similar setup, but I use lots of MU plugins. So I'm just curious as to what issues you ran into with that.
Yeah, so with MU plugins, the structure is a bit odd because it only really allows you to have one file there. So then you've usually got lots of other asset files. So you've got to create a subfolder, and you've got to make sure that it's referring back to that subfolder all the time. For MU files as well, you don't have the activate and deactivate for those, because they don't activate or deactivate. So if you're wanting to set stuff up, like particular database tables or user roles that you want linked in initially. And then when you get rid of that plugin, you don't want those there. Then you can't do that MU plugins because they don't activate and deactivate. And I do a lot of that stuff. I manipulate a lot of things when you activate the plugin. So I've got a bit of code snippet there that disables the deactivation as well. So even if it's a regular plugin, they can't get rid of it unless they go into the file manager and delete it from those, which is kind of the main thing of MU plugins, is that you don't want people to delete it. So I think just getting around it that way, and then you get all the API functionality of the plugin, rather than being a bit restricted with what you can do with MU plugins. So that's the reason I went down that road. But it was an MU plugin initially, but yeah, I find it really difficult to get hooks for initialization and activation and deactivation.
Yeah, cool. Because I've got a normal plugin, and then inside the plugin, I bundle all my MU plugins. And then I've got that same sort of checkbox thing where I say, I want this snippet, this snippet, this snippet, and that sort of thing. And then it just copies the MU plugins into the actual MU plugins directory. And when it updates, it does the same thing, so that if I update them in the plugin, it updates them in the MU plugin.
Yeah. Nice. Different strategy, same outcome.
Yeah. It was, interesting looking at it. I'm like, yes, we think very similarly. Like, yeah, I've done the same sort of thing.
Yeah, we did it. I did it when I came over here in 2012. I was working with another direct wearer on company, and we kept getting all these different support stuff through, and it's just a nightmare. So I developed this little plugin that people could do stuff right within there, and it's just like, it's a godsend. Thanks for that, Cameron. Any other questions? No, cool. Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to wrap up tonight. We'll have a nice quick one, which is always good. Please join me next month in person if you can. I know that people are not in Sydney, so that's all right. But it's nice to have people join. Just a shout out for WordCamp Brisbane as well in a couple of weeks' time. You haven't got a ticket for there, it'd be well worth just checking out the schedule and seeing all the speakers that are coming up. It's always good to learn some stuff from the speakers, but it's even better to network in person.
Are you coming up, Will?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'm mentoring the WordCamp, so I better turn up. Are you going, Ryan?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so I'll be up on the Friday, and I need to nip back down on the Sunday, so I'll be out pretty sharpish, but I'll be around on Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, great. We'll catch up.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for turning up. Thanks for questions, and catch you all later.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.